Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, June 17th, 2021. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. The previous session, we got the FOMC statement and the rate decision. The rate was decided to leave unchanged. And now you see we have our new key levels here. This is the FOMC key level for June 16th, 42.2375s. The previous one here is from April 28th. That one is 41.7675. And you'll notice right now that the one from April has been a very, very good pivot so far. Major resistance. Broke back above it here, held it on this rotation, held it here, and right now we've gotten very close to it in overnight trading and have bounced so far just shy of that level, but that level continues to hold as support at the moment. However, the FOMC key level itself went offered yesterday, and that is indicative of more weakness that could come either right away or perhaps after another lower high. We may see a broader pullback. The pullbacks in the ES have been very measured so far. Each of these have been very similar in nature here throughout the year. About this size, about this size. This was a little bit smaller. You can see about this size here. So if we do get some sort of rotation, perhaps we get a move back toward 4100. Any move into 4100 or below, anything below that level could offer a great opportunity to trap and reverse back to 4300 and likely through that target into higher key range targets up ahead. So looking forward to further overall uptrending price action even in the face of any pullback that may come. Any pullback that may come may first develop with a failed new high or some sort of lower high. So for example, if today were to trade and just build a range of yay high, Friday could develop a failed high that leads to much more weakness ahead. Something like this over here, where you had the big day, you now have a digestive day like today, and then you have the failed high that leads to weakness. So a couple ways to go. Now, one thing to keep in mind on an intraday basis, there's currently a box developing below the previous week's low price of 4206s. A push back above 4206, 4210 could open up some nice intraday strength back toward 4230. Failure to hold 4190 on an intraday basis could open up additional selling pressure ahead. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. Now the NQ right now, very similar price action to the ES. You saw initial selling pressure away from the FOMC key level of 14014. Upward trending, upward sloping PIMA trigger zone, and so far that PIMA trigger zone has barely held every drop into it and is pushing right back just to it or maybe perhaps above it. One thing to keep in mind with the NQ, we are near the top here of a trading range that has developed over the last several months. So you can see it goes back even farther. And the fact that we're up here again, failing to really get going to the upside just yet, holding below the FOMC key level. Again, is there a broader pullback that is likely ahead? If so, 13,400 could be a very good target. Whenever we do see a move, or should we see a move down, either ES, NQ, or any of these, we could then see a significant rejection that leads us back to that FOMC key level as a target ahead. So keep that in mind. At the moment, on an intraday basis, another narrow range that is developed at lows, a push back above the 13,940s. That could open up a very good return back to the previous week's close price of 13,985s. Any failure to hold 850 intraday could open up another round of weakness ahead. Taking a look here at crude oil. One thing with crude oil here, this one has been non-stop bullish, very strong continuation here ever since that major breakout day here. We've seen it hold and continue, and the pullbacks have been non-existent. Any push back below the previous session's low during this move up has been an opportunity to push to another high. At the moment, we have seen our first test below the previous session's low in a week. But as I mentioned, since we've gotten this push, we've had one, we've had was it 2 here, 3 here, and now this is our 4th one right now. So those right there have all worked out for a continuation higher. That's usually the approach here in an uptrending market. You look to defend failed new lows for a continuation higher. We'll see if that can build out here today. Again, the previous session's low, 71.61, the key level there. If bulls can keep that bid throughout much of the day, we may see a continuation back toward the previous session's midpoint, 72.30, and perhaps a close beyond it. Overall, this market continues to hit major targets. In the previous couple of days, it did hit 72.35. You have your upside target that comes into play at 76.72. That's your next 100% target. The fact that we've gone from the edge to the 50% extension so quickly here suggests that we may see another pullback of some magnitude. We haven't seen or that type of pullback since the initial breakout occurred from that wedge, but we may see some sort of counter trend rotation of some magnitude that could then allow for a buy the dip and a continuation to 76.72 down the road. So keep that in mind. All right, lastly, taking a look at gold futures. This one getting hit pretty big here today, down 4%, and seeing a pretty significant drop. We talked about 1840 early in the week, especially on this day here, which was Monday, and how that could become support for a bounce higher. Inside day here yesterday, and an attack at 1840. Wherein I mentioned any failure at 1840 could open up a big retest at 1800, and any failure at 1800 opens up the previous month's low price. So we still have the previous month's low to go. We've seen the ultimate rejection, first trading day of June at the previous month's high. We've seen the previous month's close go offered. We've now seen the previous month's go offered, midpoint go offered. The last thing to do here is to grab that low. So more selling pressure likely ahead toward that low. Perhaps not all today, but it certainly could get there very soon. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.